This week, the Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews cancelled the 2026 Commonwealth Games because of a massive budget blowout. But that's nothing new in Victoria. Every project is massively over budget. Probably helps explain why Victoria has the highest debt of any state. Joining me now is the best in the business, the Herald Sun's business columnist Terry McCrann. Terry, the Andrews government was warned in 2019 to not bid for any games that were to be held before 2034. They went ahead anyway. The state's debt projections are frightening, bigger than New South Wales and Queensland combined. Where did we go so wrong? What has happened in this state?
Well, I guess the short answer to that question, Rita, is we went so wrong in 2014 when we elected Dan Andrews to be the Premier of the state. Because basically he's demonstrated, I think, over the last 3 or 4 years particularly, he's got absolutely no understanding of the realities of actually living in the state for if you're in business and indeed if you're individuals. I mean, he's turned Melbourne into a construction site with this massive big build program, which sounds great. We'll get rid of all the level crossings and we'll do all these other construction works and we'll build this massive railway. But what's that done is suck up all the resources in construction and building over the last 12 months and sent prices rocketing, shortages of labour, and it's now playing out in the way the cost of the Commonwealth Games has gone through the roof.
Well, and those projects are over budget, and you are seeing that horror budget they delivered this year with individuals having, well, every person who really contributes to the economy took a hit there, whether you're talking about small business, whether you're talking about property investors. It was not a happy budget. Now, let's go to the UK. I'm really interested in what we've seen in the past week with Nigel Farage. He's now received an apology from NatWest Banking Group for the Coots & Co Bank getting rid of his accounts and calling him xenophobic and racist in an internal document. Basically, his conservative views saw him lose his banking access. This is a frightening example to me, Terry, of a Chinese Communist Party style social credit system being implemented by banks. I mean, since when did banks become moral arbiters who decide who's allowed to have a bank account and who's not? Well,
exactly, Rita. This is highly disturbing, totally unacceptable, and really very, very worrying. It's the Chinese social credit system meeting cancel culture that we will try, we will literally make it impossible to exist in society if you're not one of the right-thinking people. Because a bank account is as fundamental as food and credit and healthcare to functioning in the 21st century. And to deny access to a bank is to deny access to actually functioning in the society.
It is just so sinister, and a number of other banks have also refused Nigel Farage a bank account. So it's not just this bank. It seems like they've gone in unison, and they are citing things like his views on trans issues, his support of Brexit. I mean, those are positions where he's in the majority.
Well, not only the majority, Rita, but even if it wasn't the majority, it's
of course, it doesn't matter.
Opinion. But what about Joe Smith and Joanna Smith? I mean, Nigel Farage is a big guy. He's got a platform. How many people out there have had the same thing happen to them we don't know about because they're not public figures. They can't hit back.
Now, finally, you alerted to me to this earlier. I've got to ask you about The Age running with this headline, the hottest July in 120,000 years. What's in store for Australia this summer? I mean, is Nine Media trying to outdo the Babylon Bee? 120,000 years?
Well, exactly, Rita. It is the Babylon Bee down under when it runs like a headline like that. How could an editor actually allow that headline to appear on their website? I mean, it's just totally insane to think that there's any sort of legitimate basis for saying you can know what the hottest day is in hottest month in 120,000 years.
And I'm sure it wasn't a geologist who wrote that headline, which makes it even worse. Terry McCrann, thank you so much for joining me tonight.